So I always think it's important to listen to both sides of the argument. And, Sun Tzu said, if you know yourself and you know your enemy, you don't have to worry about the outcome of 1,000 battles, right? Because, like, you'll know who will win, whether that'll be you or them, right? That's something else. Like, if you know you're going to lose, you might not want to fight that fucking battle. I mean, you might want to, you know what I'm saying? At minimum, like, you might want to try and bluff that motherfucker out as best you can. Like, negotiate the best terms that you possibly can for shit. But if you know that you're gonna lose, it is what it is. But that's not really where we are today. The mentality is this, right? I find it harder and harder to be able to just hang out and just be funny anymore, right? Because, like, shit's fucking super serious at this point. And being correct and being on point with shit is important, right? It's like, it's a really important fucking thing right now. So I got this video from Andrew Shultz's Flagrant with Kash Singh. It's a podcast that they do. And I'll be honest, I think Andrew Shultz is funny as shit, just to be perfectly honest when it comes down to it. But they're both New Yorkers. Actually, Akash was born in Texas, right? And I'll be real, I think it's important that you break down what these individuals say. So we're going to go through some of this video, and talk about some of the points and just kind of get into where we are as a society and, understand, like, what the other side is thinking. All right. It's kind of important.
I have friends of mine who have, like, literally DM'd me and said, this is the end of democracy.
But
Shut up.
This isn't the end, but this is how it starts. I think this is what I see.
You have catastrophic thinking because you've experienced it.
Because I see it, yes. And I know how it starts. It starts real kind of like innocent shit. Like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if we had like more of this? And then you look up and everything is crazy. So you're right. People overreact, but also sometimes you got to overreact to get people to take the shit seriously.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. This is the first time I've been concerned about America long term.
My only concern with America is it being like torn.
Well, all right. Let's break down that statement. It's important to stand here and act all hyperbolic and act like the sky is falling to get motherfuckers to move. God, I wish I could disagree with that statement because people are so fucking stupid. Like, goddamn. Like, I wish they were just a little bit fucking smarter. Like, that's the bitch. It's like you can't get people to sit here and listen to an economic message. Like, you can't fucking do it. Like, that's why, like, this channel doesn't grow, and that's why, like, a lot of economic channels, they just don't fucking grow. Legit. Like, they all have sailings, and mine in particular, mostly because YouTube hates us. Right? But, like, YouTube is gonna hate us from time to time. It's just how the fuck shit works, because, we're not normal. So, let's keep going. They're gonna touch on that, too. Let's keep banging with this.
Torn in half.
That's a big concern.
Yeah, like I think that's like the biggest objection. No. You're right, Akash, you're right. No, meaning like, and that is my biggest objection to Trump, right? And I think that like anybody who's listening to this podcast, like, I've been incredibly fair to fucking Trump, right? Mm-hmm. Like, but I think that so fair. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, you know what I mean? Like, so fair. But it's like there is something that you have to recognize that when you don't try at all to reach across the aisle, right? Now, some people that are like super pro Trump might go, but what about prison reform or something like that? Okay, and that's fair. That is. But I don't think that like prison reform is a strict.
Okay, so here's the thing about the party right now, right? And this is the thing about the parties. And they're going to get into this and touch on this a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to touch on it on the Republican side of things because a lot of people don't understand what this Republican Party is right now. They think it's a Republican Party of old, and it's not, right? This is Ron Paul's revenge. All right, that's what this Republican Party is. This is the populist, the crazies, as John McCain called them, right? This is the libertarian, populist, working individuals who just want to be left the fuck alone and not called a racist anymore, right? They're sick of the Democrats going to their fucking base and going, well, you know, these racists over here, they're trying to destroy your country. And then like the whole country kind of like bands together to say fuck white men. And that's what this party is. And it's not about racism. It's anti-racism is what it is. This is a response to racism. Legit. This is a response, and it's not reverse racism. Racism. All right? No matter who it is. If you're black, if you're white, if you're fucking Puerto Rican, if you're goddamn Chinese, it doesn't matter what you are, right? Legit. You could be whatever and be fucking racist. I don't give a shit. Like, yo, racism is racism. And there's been a lot of racism towards white people in this fucking country. This is a response to it. This is not a white lash. It's a fucking response to people being fucking blatantly racist and just getting the fuck away with it and saying, white men, you don't get to fucking have any rights in this fucking country anymore. And it's legit. People are fucking sick of it. And this is the populist party. You know what I mean? This is what this is. It's not the Ku Klux Klan and the Proud Boys and all the fucking bullshit. They're like, you know, the motherfuckers on the front lines or whatever out here fighting Antifa. Those are dummies, okay? Young kids are fucking stupid, full of cum. You know how this works. Young, dumb, full of cum. Like, just way too much, you know what I mean, fucking, like, not having a reason to live. You know, like, once you get older, you have some things, you know what I mean? You got kids, you got a family, you got people you know what I mean, supporting, you're responsible for. You don't have that in you anymore. But the vast majority of these people who are voting are people who are going, well, we think the country's going in the wrong direction. We're sick of paying so much fucking taxes. We're in debt up to our eyeballs. The fucking cost of living keeps going up every year and nobody's adjusting it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's saying a word and you're saying inflation is good. Like, this is the populist fucking party. And it's not the racist side of things. And that's kind of where it's at. Like, and I'll be honest with you, the military industrial complex people have been tossed off the fucking bridge, right? Like, we have been flinging people off this. The Christian conservative motherfuckers have been thrown overboard. Like, there's a lot of people that used to be part of this Republican big tent coalition, legit, that just have been ejected from the party, including business people. Right? Because everybody's fucking sick and tired of hearing how the billionaires are fucking doing and they need a fucking bailout. But let's be real. They're not bailing out billionaires. They're bailing out the 401ks. All right? But nobody wants to have a conversation about any of these type of things. Let's keep banging.
Democratic position, right? I think you could even argue that conservatives are like, yo, we don't want all these taxes going towards prisons. Like, get that shit out of there. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is, when you only try to satisfy your base and you're not reaching across the aisle at all, you create a line of division that is incredibly thick. And by emboldening your base, you infuriate the opposition to the point where they hate each other. And when you hate the other person, when they're literally evil to you, that is the end of democracy. Because now we can't have the conversation. If you think I'm evil, and I think you're evil, how are we supposed to meet in the middle about this abortion shit?
And to that point, I think a lot.
All right. Well, let's have this conversation too. I mean, because the Democratic base are like 16 to 24-year-old white and black chicks. Right? Like, that's who the fucking Democratic base is, right? That's legit. That's their fucking base. And the Republican base is a much larger base. It really is. You know what I mean? It's people who don't want the status quo, but they want to have what people had in the 1950s, right? Not like, you know, the whole, like, you know, black people, whatever, not Jim Crow bullshit, but more along the lines like they want that white picket fence, they want a nice house, they want to be able to work hard and be paid for their accomplishments, they want to be able to, you know what I mean, work at one job and retire and have a pension and all these type of things. That can only come back if we end immigration. And again, fucking the Democratic base is fucking 18 or 16 to fucking 24-year-old white bitches, you know what I mean, who want immigrants to come in here and pipe them the fuck down. You know what I mean? They feel bad for everybody. You know what I mean? They're the individuals who, you know what I mean, donate to the ASPCA, and, you know, they're, you know, the heart of an angel, right? All that fucking dumb bullshit, right? That's who the fucking Democratic base is. And that's why, like, yo, nobody. That's why everybody in the Republican side, we all fucking hate them, but everybody wants to fuck them. It's a very difficult place to be in America at the moment.
A lot of Trump's appeal, at least early on, to Republicans is look how much liberals hate him. Look how crazy he drives them. I love how crazy he drives my enemy. Enemy of my enemy, that's my friend.
Yes.
I'm not saying that's the only reason. There's a whole fucking convergence of reasons he got elected. That's one of them, I think.
I think it just sucks that you have Biden, who's such a fucking stiff, right? Who is the only other
actual
option.
Corpse.
Yeah, who's just a corpse. And now you're in this really shitty situation, right? Because you recognize the division, right? Like, that's why I was really annoyed with what AOC posted, right? Yeah. She's like, I don't care if you don't like what he has to say. Vote for him anyway. It's like, what?
Well, I think
what? That's the end of democracy right there.
She's addressing people who clearly aren't going to vote for Trump, but then think that like the answer is to just not vote. Like, if your thing is that Trump is evil and Trump is bad and he's ruining.
Yeah, but supporting a shitty candidate is the wrong way to go, right? That's like fucking, all right, so say you're at a race, right? You're at a drag race and shit. And the driver comes out, pulls his dick out, and sticks it inside of a fucking goat on the starting line, right? And you're like, I don't want to root for that fucking guy, right? You know what I mean? And that's Donald Trump to the Democrats. And so your choice is another guy pulls up in a 1992 Oldsmobile Bonneville, right? Like, you're like, that guy's going to lose, right? Like, that guy fucking sucks. Like, why is that guy pulling up in that car? There's nothing there I want, right? Like, I don't want to fucking support that guy. Like, yo, fuck that guy. That's not a race car. Right? Like, right? And like, if you support that dude, you are objectionably, like, you're supporting somebody for standing here bringing your Bonneville in, right? You know what I mean? With a stock 3806 in it. And you go, no. You know what I mean? Like, no, because you know what? Somebody else is going to fucking do the same dumbass fucking shit. Legit. And you gotta stand here and go, man, like, this isn't going to fucking work. You know, because we don't want more of this. You know what I mean? That's why, like, you don't vote for shitty fucking candidates.
Ruin the country, And so what are you going to do about it? I'm going to stay my ass home on election day. It's like, buddy, that ain't going to solve the situation.
Right.
Now, she's doing exactly what you're talking about Trump did, which is...
Yeah, but supporting the dude who wants to continue the wars overseas that are lining the pockets of the people in fucking Congress and shit isn't helping either. Right? Like, that's making the situation worse. Quite literally. That's making the whole thing fucking worse. And that's not what you want to do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that is not at all in any way, shape, or form what you really want to do as far as, you know what I mean, like, the whole political process. Like, you don't want Joe Biden. Like, and you know you can't win with a socialist because a socialist is dumb, right? Socialism doesn't fucking work and nobody likes it and nobody wants to stand here and pay more taxes. I don't care who the fuck you are. If you make any more than $50,000 a year, which that's the average income in America, right? For a household anyway, average take home pays like $38,000, right? But if you make 50 grand in America a year, you know what I'm saying? You're just a regular worker. You don't want to continue to pay taxes for more socialism because that's not going to work. The problem is we're not having the right conversations, right? Legit. Like, the next 10 years are going to suck a lot. Like, it is what it is, right? Because the boomers are retiring and Gen X can't support them because they're not a big enough fucking population block, right? So, therefore, you have to, you know what I mean, have a conversation with the American people and level with them. Go, hey, look, the next couple of years are going to be fucking terrible, right? So let's, you know what I mean, do something the fuck else. You know what I mean? Let's stand here and, you know, like, let's not continue this fucking bullshit process, right? Let's deal with that problem. But we can't do that as politicians because we don't elect people who are honest. And that's a real problem in this country as a whole.
I'm appealing to the base.
Exactly.
She's not reaching across for any, like, person who's like, I might be voting for Trump, but now she makes a great point. I'll vote for Biden.
Right.
That's not who she's talking to. She's talking to the people who are either going to vote for Biden or not vote at all.
And I think that's what annoyed me about it, because I hate that kind of tribalism.
Right.
Like, what I want more than anything in America right now, like, literally, if I could pick a candidate, it would be the candidate that doesn't tear the shit in fucking half. And I don't know if Biden is capable to mend anything together. Can't even put a fucking sentence together, and I don't know how he's going to put this country back together. At the same time, I am concerned that, like, Trump, as we get close to the election, is going to lean further into the base, because that is what he does. He will support the base.
How much more could you
And it's brilliant what he did. We can't act like his strategy wasn't genius.
Because it works.
Yeah.
No, it works. But my point is this, is like once you've introduced the game, this is a new game now. The new game is I lean into my base.
Yep.
Then the aim of the game is to win. You're not going to win the election. Be like, I know he's playing by these rules. I'm playing ones and two, or by ones only. He's playing ones and twos.
See, this is where I disagree with you a little bit. I think the Democrats underestimate what their base is. And I think that Republicans underestimate what their base is as well. So, like, Trump is leaning into the extremes.
Right.
Right? And because of that, Democrats have leaned into their extremes.
Yeah.
Right? And they've really created this polarization where there's this entire gap in the middle of the country, which most of us probably fit in. I can't speak for you.
All right, so let's talk about that fucking gap, right? Because that gap is an issue. How do I put this? The problem is, legitimately, that there's far too many people who don't give any fucks about this shit, right? And on top of that, there's a lot of people who are not invested in the system. And on top of that, there's a lot of people who they don't really care either way, right? Because they've spent the past, 30, 40 fucking years, whatever, the past 20 years, whatever it is you've been voting, right? Just watching just a plethora of individuals who you would never elect, right? Who you never wanted. Like, none of them suited your fucking taste. And none of them did anything you fucking wanted. And nobody's being honest and telling the truth to you other than Trump, right? And everybody pandering to some fucking group and some fucking nonsense, and nobody fucking is actually being a statesman and doing what they're supposed to do for the country. Legit. That's really where it is. Everybody's lying all the goddamn time, and it's not helping any fucking body. That's kind of where it's at. And let's be real, a lot of these people in the middle of the country who are, I'll be honest, like, I drive through the middle of the country, right? You know what I'm saying? And I've fucking seen a lot of Biden signs. I have. Out in the middle of Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, fucking Ohio and shit, PA, Kentucky. I've seen Biden signs in places you would not expect to see Biden signs, like out in the fucking woods or in the middle of the sticks. And that worries me, right? As far as being, the guy who goes like, shit, man, I don't want more fucking war. You know what I mean? That's the only reason I support Trump, because I'm like, I know he's going to fucking end this bullshit. I know he got this. Like, he's been talking about the military industrial complex and all this shit, and like, I'm like, fuck, man, like, the only way to get away from all this shit is Trump. That's it. That's the only option we have. Because the past fucking 3 presidents, trying to think here. Actually, Obama literally ran on an anti-war campaign that took 2 wars and turned them into 7. This guy was the fucking, the drone striking chief. Legit. Like, and I don't want any more of this. I'm tired of this being done in my name. We don't fucking need these other countries anymore. Legit. So, I don't know. That's fucking kind of where the fuck I'm at.
But I know most of us in this room right now are sitting here in the middle going, these people on the left are fucking ludicrous. These people on the right are fucking ludicrous. Can we just figure out how to just kind of respect each other? I don't want you to get killed by the cops. I don't want to pay a lot in taxes. I don't want to go to war abroad for no fucking reason. And also fuck China. Like, I think we can all agree on all those things. I think we can come together. But because they're doing so much bickering and there's so much polarization, this gap is open in the middle, and they're too much of a pussy. Both sides are too pussy. Just hop in the middle. And Biden was supposed to be the one in the middle, but he can't put a fucking sentence together.
Here's the thing. Remember how they said the Rockets and the Lakers, this is a series for the future of the NBA?
Yeah.
Because if the Rockets won, then everyone says, fuck centers.
We don't need it.
We don't need any of that shit.
Yeah.
It was important for some people that the Lakers win just so that we don't lose our fucking minds.
Yeah.
The Rockets are like Trump, except Trump won. So what you're describing, while yes, I love centers and I love power forwards and I love the game being like some post-ups and some three-pointers and a mix of everything, that's what you're describing. But the motherfucker 4 years ago went shot only threes, didn't have a center, and won. And that's why everyone's playing the game now this way.
I understand.
Because you gotta win, Andrew. And you're right. Maybe there is something in the middle there that could appeal or whatever. But the idea is that...
And again, like, Donald Trump's campaign legitimately was a response to the Democrats moving so far fucking left. Like, legit. I don't know if you remember fucking 2014, 15, 16 when, oh my God, it was just left-wing reading everywhere. And it was the meme wars and just, it was awful. Donald Trump's campaign was a response to the left legitimately fucking letting these socialists take the fuck over. That's the thing. That's the part of this that nobody fucking, like, we're not talking about. Legit. And that's something that I think, we need to have more conversations about when it comes down to it. Because, like, we're not addressing any of this properly. And this is the... See, here's the thing about, like, New York and LA and San Francisco. They feel like it's them against the world, right? Because, like, they're surrounded by the rest of the country who hates their fucking guts, right? And they go, oh, man, these Bible Belt people, they're going to stop us from dancing and doing all whatever the stuff we do, and all this fucking nonsense. Because when they were kids, right, they left to move to the big city. Right? And when they moved to the big city as kids, they came out and they went, oh, my parents were so repressive, and they didn't let me do anything and da-da-da-da-da, and fucking I didn't have any freedom and it was boring and all this fucking bullshit, right? And then they got in their 30s and 40s, and they all of a sudden started understanding why their parents were the way they are. But the bitches, the damage was already done, right? And they still hated their parents for how they treated them, but they're looking around their fucking corner at the goddamn drug dealers and shit and seeing these little kids out at fucking 3 a.m. in their fucking diapers and shit. And you're looking around and you go, God, this fucking place is a cesspool. And it used to be cool to you because, like, you like sketchy neighborhoods. And you start having that little bullshit thing in the back of your head bother you, go, maybe boring's okay. Maybe, like, being bored isn't such a terrible thing. Maybe, like, we should control some of this shit, right? And you continue to hate your parents for what they were. And you hate your father in particular. And then you end up in this situation of where you end up hating all men who were like him. And you feel like the whole world was like that because you left so young and you never had a chance to discover the reasons why individuals acted the way they did. And that's kind of the problem when it comes down to it. Because I have these conversations with people all the time, right? And they go, man, I can't wait to, I'd love to get out of here. I want to live anywhere else. And I'm like, I go everywhere else, right? All the time. Right. And, as I drove through Kansas City today, you know what I'm saying, or St. Louis, or I drove through, Chicago, I slept in Detroit, Atlanta, like Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis, I've been to these terrible, awful, horrible cities, Philly, Newark, Secaucus, all of North Jersey, New York City, fucking Boston, fucking Connecticut, all these fucking places. And you look around, there's homeless people all over the place and fucking toilets sitting in the middle of the fucking street and shit and wild dogs running around and just nobody gives a fuck, right? And the place is a fucking dumpster fire. And you go, why don't they see this? Like, why don't they understand that this is not what life's supposed to be? It's not supposed to be this hard. It's not supposed to be this dirty. Like, you're all packed in like fucking roaches and you don't care. Like, you don't care how shitty you live. And you think that the rest of us should just live the way you do. And we go, we don't want that, right? Like we much prefer to, you know what I mean, like have a community and, you know, like people, you know, fucking know their place and shit's all right and everything's cool. And, you know, like I don't mind dealing with Amish people and church motherfuckers all the time. Like it doesn't bother me, right? I don't really care about that, you know, and I'd much rather be in the woods where there's animals and fresh water and I mean, fucking open land and trees and shit, and my kids are able to, you know, fucking go outside and play, and I ain't got to worry about pedophiles snatching them and shit. Like, it's, you know, it's much better. Like, it's a much better way of living. Like, I've lived both lives. I have. And I'll choose living in the sticks 100 times out of 100. Like, it's much better. Legit. And as you get older and, you know what I mean, like you wake up and your bones are sore from scrapping and, you know, you're fucking tired from grinding it the fuck out and shit. And, you know, when you get punched in the face, you feel it for like a month. Like it's important to understand that. You know what I mean? It's important to understand that you're not going to be able to be young forever. I know you only live once, YOLO, all that fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Live young, you know what I mean? Live fast, die young bullshit. But like real talk, man, listen, you're going to get old one day. And one day when you're old, you're going to look around and go, man, fuck this shit. You know, they're making a new breed of 18-year-olds every day, and I'm not interested in proving myself. You know, maybe it's the fact that y'all are rich. You know what I mean? You live in some brownstone somewhere. Maybe that's the fucking problem. I don't know.
The team that won is the one that dictates how we're going to play the next rules.
This is my only pushback of that would be that I think you can apply those same rules to the middle, which is this massive base that is existing and thirsty and dying for someone to speak for them, but they're not playing it. They're just not fucking playing it. There's this, literally 90% of the country is up for grabs and is being forced to make this decision that actually doesn't satisfy their palate because that's the only thing that's out there. And I think it's a gross miscalculation by both sides.
You know what it's like? To your point, you get a video with 1 million views or whatever on YouTube, and then you have 10,000 comments and everybody's arguing. 990,000 people didn't care enough to comment.
Right.
You see 10,000 people arguing though, and you're like, oh my God, look at the fucking, everybody's so angry. Most people don't give a fuck. Right. Now, what I was also thinking is one silver lining that could come from this divide is 2 more parties coming to the middle, and now we have 4 parties. Nothing would be better to me than dope. 4 parties. Extreme, middle left, middle right.
That would be dope. I'm all for more parties. That's the one thing I would say about a lot of the European countries that they have better than us. Right. Not all of them, because some of them are just like us, where it's basically 2 parties.
Yeah.
But the idea of having like multiple parties, that shit is cool, man. It's nice to have options. It's always nice to have options.
Question. So you said you hate the way AOC is leaning, that she's like just appeasing or trying to talk to her base.
Tribalism.
The same tactic that Trump is doing.
Correct.
Like,
I'm critical of both of them for doing the same thing. Yes.
But what's the lesser of two evil? Re-electing Trump, who's continuing to divide up the country, or electing Biden, who, yes, he has a little trouble putting sense.
You really don't think that Biden's not going to fucking stand here and divide the country even more? Like, yo, Biden's not even going to be fucking president for more than like 6 months before Kamala's motherfucking named the goddamn fucking commander-in-chief. Like, real shit. Like, yo, everybody knows what the fuck this is. Yeah, he is the ultimate Manchurian candidate. Like, why the fuck? Yo, black dudes are so fucking dumb. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Trump's over here dividing the country. No. You're not being told shit. You're literally listening to your bubble. Listen to you. Yo, you've had CNN and MSNBC and BET and every rapper and everybody on Twitter and all the fucking lefties on Instagram in your fucking ear, and you don't understand. Like, you literally don't listen. You're literally like, yo, you're listening to the wrong people, because these people are fucking terrified because they're garbage. Like, yo, most dudes are not garbage. They can support themselves and they're all right. Legit. It's the weakest, most garbage motherfuckers around who are concerned about the country being fucking divided. Real shit. Let's keep going, man. Let's keep going.
Sentences together, but he has people around him that can at least help him manage it. And he's better at trying to keep the country together.
Let me just poke holes in that logic, because I think that is solid logic, and I think a lot of people take that, right? And they go down that route. They're like, well, at least with this guy, he's got good people around him, right? Which is fair, but I don't know who's around him. And me as a voter, and let's not talk about me, Andrew Shultz, like me, just John Doe, regular voter guy, who's like, yeah, okay, fine. I know the guy's a corpse, but maybe he's got really smart people around him, and I can vote for the smart people. I don't know Kamala's practices. I don't know Kamala's strategies. I don't know
great
who
taste
she's
in
going to.
Tim's. I know that.
I hate you. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the average person doesn't know, so you're not really giving me anything to latch on to. And, you know, AOC is coming out here and she's like, this is a vote for marginalized people. It's like, cut it out, dude. Like, you have Kamala and Joe Biden, who do not have the best records when it comes to marginalized people. No. So cut out the bullshit. You're basically just going, hey, don't vote for the other guy, which didn't work 4 years ago when they ran on don't work for the other guy. It's like, how long do we have to prop up the Democrats until they actually take us seriously? And the same goes for Republicans, until they take us seriously and give us someone that actually appeals to our base.
I'm what Al's saying, which is, the idea is that if you vote for this guy, we're going to play dirty now, but once he gets in there, he's going to start to fix this shit and make it look like a regular country again where you reach across the aisle and you do all that other shit and, you know, and kind of try and lead from the middle. But for now, yeah, everyone's going to have to get their guns out and get dirty with it.
I guarantee you, and I mean this 1,000%, if there was a centrist candidate, I mean, it's 1,000%, who wasn't even attached to a party, who literally ran as an independent, but was smart enough to make the logical arguments that the American people need to be made.
Cuban. Mark fucking Cuban.
If Mark Cuban came out,
say Kanye.
Fuck it. If Mark Cuban came out, like literally, it would have to be someone smart enough and successful enough to fund their campaign. But if they came out and just made these logical fucking arguments that Americans want to hear, and they weren't worried about the pushback,
he is pro Black Lives Matter, anti-tax. He's the guy. Hey, listen, what's happening to black people is terrible. Also, I don't want to pay taxes. Pretty simple.
Sexually harasses women. Both sides can support that.
So we 3 for 3 on the candidate.
I don't want to support somebody who supports communists. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Anyway, yo, look, man. I'm Tom P's of Pnoid News. You know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe, motherfuckers. Peace.